Hey friends, it's Jeff. I'm back with Danielle. Had a good friend who does therapy and counseling and enneagram coaching full time. And she wrote me a very worthwhile note saying that she thought that Danielle should consider a 6. Now, last time I talked with Danielle, we ended up talking around 5 and 7. It was the case that listening back through, I could see what my friend said. And it was the case that some of the buzzier buzzwords for 7s didn't necessarily hit the way that I think I might expect. So with that in mind, I invited Danielle back on. Thank you very much for making time to do another session with me.
No, my pleasure.
Excellent. So off mic, you said something about sharing that same suspicion. Was that correct?
Like 6 was my OG sort of suspicion for years when I first came to the Enneagram, because I was like, 6s, I guess as an anxious person, I immediately think 6. Like, I'm like, yep, gotta be a 6. But as I've learned more, it's funny you say buzzy buzzwords around 7, because what threw me off of being a 6 was that I didn't feel like some of the buzzy buzzwords around 6 necessarily resonated with me, like authority, like respecting and following authority, and loyalty. Neither of those aspects of 6 have ever really resonated with me. Not that I would consider myself like a loyal person, but I'm definitely not. When I've heard other 6s talk about their loyalty, it doesn't resonate with me.
That's excellent in terms of, I think it's the case as we were talking, I used a couple of buzzwords for 6s and just didn't feel like anything hit immediately. And so I moved on. And so I'm glad that you can reproduce some things that also didn't necessarily stand out to you. Some of the things that stood out to me in the second go listening through was in particular how you connect with other people. And what I'm going to do is, last time we used our book for the mistyping chart. This time I just want to talk through 3 of the sets of triads: stance, coping style, and affect. This is another way that you can do typing with folks. The last 5 or so chapters of our book are on these 3 sets of triads. If you're looking for your type or looking to help others with their type, simply reading the titles of the chapters and looking for insights is a stellar way to discover where we stand. And then I wanted to talk about stress and security moves for you.
Sure.
But I wanted to start with the affect and how you connect with people, because at one point I asked whether or not you pull people into adventures. And it seemed to be the case that you were saying the opposite, that you actually prefer to have other people pull you into adventures. When you connect with your spouse, when you connect with your friends, what do you see as your social role in those relationships?
Yeah, so I was thinking actually about that question too after the fact, because I think the word that really changes my interpretation of it is adventures. Because I associate adventure with like adrenaline almost. That's like the association I make. I think I mentioned before, like, I'm not an adrenaline person in the sense of like, I'm not going to go and skydive or bungee jump or go on a roller coaster. Like, I'm not doing it. However, I think I do tend to, if we replace that with, I don't know, something else, any other word.
Yeah.
I do think I bring people with me. So I think it was the adventure piece more so than the bringing of the people, if that makes sense.
It does.
And when you mentioned like my husband being like, I think I mentioned, I thought he was like a 9 wing 1 or a 1 wing 9. I bring him for sure, like without a doubt. Yeah.
Perfect. Bring someone is also a great way to phrase that. Do you find that you connect with people when they can see your thoughts, when the things you're getting excited about mentally is a place where you really want to share that? And bang, that would be something worth noting there. Good. The other thing worth talking about would be how 7s and 6s solve problems. Oftentimes 6s want to get an emotional reaction out of the people in front of them, especially the people who they rely on most. Push for them to see the anxieties that they have, push others to affirm that they're not crazy, push
Mm-hmm.
others to showcase their cards so that just everything's on the table so that the six can feel like, okay, I see where you're at, here's where I'm at, and then we can move forward together. That might be a real common way for sixes to solve problems, seeking, and even seeking validation for their fears. Do you see things the way I see them? Sevens in solving problems, and often this can even be unseen by two sevens and nines, but sevens can begin to positive spin when
Mm-hmm.
problems hit. It's, we don't need to stay here, we can go over there. We don't need to think on this negative situation, we can move. Do you resonate with either of those more?
You know what's interesting? I think I tend to go different ways depending if I'm dealing with my own problem or someone else's.
Yeah.
I'm super positive and optimistic with others. Like if someone else is, I'll give a good example. My friends who live across the street were doing a major renovation on their house and have had a big hiccup where they're having to downscale big time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no, this is a great thing. Now you have all this extra money you didn't think you would have, and you can. But if it's me, I am gonna cry and wallow and not immediately go to like, it's okay, I have so much extra money now. Like I'll come
Yeah.
to that, but it's not my first place I go.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
perfect. So it's, do you find that you are seeking to change other people's minds with positivity then, but not
Yeah.
necessarily your own?
Yeah, like I want it's yeah, that's an interesting and like I also think of my husband here because he tends to be more cynical and skeptical and negative overall than I do. And I'm constantly saying, like, oh, why are you being so negative? Oh, like, right. So,
Yeah.
like, in our relationship, I'm the optimist, like, I'm the bubble, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, and then conversely, I have, or comparatively, I have this friend who is definitely a social seven, 1,000,000%. And I think of her level of optimism for like, lost my job, but that's okay. Like something else better is coming along. And like, that's not me for sure. Like I said, I might get there eventually. It's not
Yeah.
my knee jerk. Like the day it happens, I'm definitely not like celebrating the, new door that's going to open for me, because of this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the excellent phrasing of that. And I think that would confirm some stuff. Another difference between sevens and sixes ends up being their stance.
Hmm.
Sevens are going to stand independent, going to consider their own feelings and the feelings of others last. It's not necessarily where the sweet spot is. The sweet spot for the seven is action and thinking
Hmm.
and moving into the world with those as primary. Feelings generally can be obstacles, in fact, to the enjoyment pursued. That's one way of being in the world. The second way of being in the world for the six would be to be responsive, to be reactive, to really be reading the energy, emotions, and situation as though you're really on the front line, immersed. And especially being aware of the rules that others put forth, the social expectations, and connecting with others with their needs, perspective in mind. Do either of those stand out to you more?
I can see both. Can you give me another example of like the seven?
Yeah. Truly caring about other people's feelings, especially their negative feelings, just isn't the seven's wheelhouse most of the time. This is where some of the optimism might come in. It's, oh, I hear you. Let's go over here. You don't have to sit in those negative feelings. So, because you don't need to sit in those negative feelings, we don't need to spend any time in those negative feelings either. We can get moving.
Oh, good one. Yeah. This is interesting because I talk to people all the time about their negative feelings, right? In
Uh-huh.
therapy. So it's interesting. I think that I am very empathetic, but I'm not going to be like, let's just feel the feels, feel the sadness, sit in
Yep.
it. So I am, when you like, this is why I was a bit thrown off because when you mentioned like, I do feel very much, I'm deeply empathetic and I feel others' feelings very
Mm-hmm.
much so. But I'm also not, yeah, I don't know. They both really resonate actually in different ways. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's a tricky one.
That's well put. And not that your vocation makes this hard to type you on this front, but like you've actually done some work here to
Yeah,
grow as a human being, as a counselor, as somebody in a specific vocation where that kind of requires you to get into the mud
exactly.
with some folks. That I'd be curious if your 20-year-old self would be able to go to those places. Would your 20-year-old self engage people's harder feelings, darker feelings in a way that wanted to pull them out and get moving, to to have you always had that like counselor bone?
You know what? Not that this doesn't answer that at all, but as you were talking, I was thinking one of the things that I guess would help to nuance this in terms of the therapy is
Mm-hmm.
I really gravitate toward therapy that's aimed at pulling people out of their negative feelings. So
Okay.
I'm trained in some modalities like, this one where it's like very experiential. Okay, you come with a problem and we do this particular modality on it to help you move through it. Perfect. Versus some of the other modalities, I don't know, like experiential therapy, for example, maybe where you're going to talk through more someone with someone their, I don't know, existential dread or something, right? Not to say you're not still working on getting them to a better place of living in the world with it,
Yeah.
but I would be like, like it's brain spotting is what the modality is called. Like I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, let's brain spot that existential fear and reprocess it into a excitement for life or something. So
Love that. That's good. Bang. The I suppose the other side to stance would be the thinking repression that can come with stance,
mhm.
and for sixes, and so where we've been talking about feeling repression for sevens. Do you ever find that you have a hard time getting your head around what you are thinking? Do you ever have a hard time trusting your own judgments?
Yes, I have a hard time. Yes, I do, in the sense that actually, I just had this conversation with a client today talking about trusting your gut versus trusting your head and how I struggle. Like, in hindsight, I can see how many times my gut instinct was correct. And had I followed that, it would have taken me to where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But I took the long road because I tend to play it safe and trust my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, as I'm thinking about that, I don't know. Is there another way you can spin that, or did I answer it?
I think, do you find that you need to write things down to keep them
Yes.
in mind?
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I also have ADHD, right?
Right.
So there's a confounding factor there.
Sure.
So I am a list maker for sure.
On that front.
Yeah.
Bang. Do you, I don't know if we talked about anger last time. Do you experience much anger that's directed at yourself?
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't say
Okay.
I've like mastered self-compassion or anything,
Sure.
but I wouldn't consider myself particularly angry towards myself.
Boom.
It's not how I would identify. Like, it wouldn't come to mind for me if I was talking about how I treat myself.
Sure, sure. Do you find that, let's talk about stress and security moves for the
Hmm.
two. In terms of vacations and places that you feel most at ease, do these end up being very physical spaces or very mental spaces when you feel like most comfortable, confident, in control?
Did you say vacation or
Vacations
vocation?
can be
Okay.
vacations. Vacations
Okay.
can be an example of this. Like
Okay.
some folks will really want. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, you go ahead. I wasn't gonna say anything.
Some folks, in terms of their vacations, they really want to get into nature. Really want to get into their bodies. Really
Okay.
want
Yep.
to be at peace, and the anxiety is gone because they have moved out of the spaces they're responsible for and the people that they're responsible for, and moved
Mm-hmm.
into more calm, harmonious spots. That might be one way of being
Mm-hmm.
really at peace. And another
Okay. Yep.
way of being really at peace can be moving away from kind of monkey mind. I'm thinking about all these different things, and I find that in this one sphere, I really focus and I get into the depth of something, and I enjoy the depth, and it's more of a mental experience of confidence.
What would that
Do
look
either
like
of
in a
those resonate for you?
vacation comparatively? Like if one is going into nature, for example, what would the second be? The
Yeah.
mental. Because for me, I go into nature often. I love it. But while I'm in
Hmm.
nature, I'm listening to podcasts and learning. So it's very much like a one, like
Yeah.
both and for me there, you know? And I learn best
Yeah.
when I'm moving, for sure. Like I walk and I listen to podcasts or audiobooks, but usually podcasts, and it's
Hmm.
usually something educational around psychology or that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
that one's a puzzle. Like if I need to like really listen to something, like if I have a client and I don't, I want to learn more about what they're going through, I'll find a podcast that relates to it and I go for a walk. And that's like the magic combination for me.
Yeah.
In nature, like usually in the woods. There's like a wooded path near my house and that's where I go.
I'm trying to think as quickly as I can through all the sevens in my life and how they they do this, because I actually haven't thought through this yet. The sevens in my life, and you said you don't like going on vacations alone, correct?
I don't know that we
Am I
talked about
cutting out
that.
a little bit?
No, am I?
Okay.
You're not, am I?
Wow.
Did you lose me?
There, I'm experiencing just a little bit of lag. It's not crazy lag, but just a little bit of lag.
Okay. It might be, it says my signal's good, so I don't know.
Okay. And maybe I'm
Do you want me
wrong.
to keep
It's
going or?
There's a lot of construction in our area. Yeah, go ahead and keep going, and
Oh,
I'll ask for you to restate something if necessary.
okay.
So go ahead.
I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying about?
Let me prompt you again. I
Yeah.
want to say in our last conversation that you said that you do not
Oh,
enjoy
yeah.
going on vacations by yourself or doing things by yourself. Is that correct?
No, I like doing stuff by myself, but I, yeah, this is a tough one too. Like I really like doing things with particular people. I also
Hmm.
need time alone to recharge. So
Okay.
I'm very much, that typical ambivert kind of thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Is most of the sevens in my life need to get out of their house and move and go somewhere else. And generally it's like away from their spaces.
Hmm.
And if they are the ones that are going by themselves, that's just fine. Do you
Yeah.
experience that kind of feeling?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Like what would be an example of that? Like what's a you got out of the house by yourself and you went somewhere and it was refreshing.
I wouldn't say something like travel related,
Hmm.
but I get out of the house by myself all like if I'm overstimulated, like I said, I have woods like 4 minutes from my house walking. So I'm there. Like I'm there all the time, multiple times a
Right.
day,
Hmm.
just taking it in. Winter, summer, fall, spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Of all things, the overlap with 6-7 here is pretty severe. So I'm thinking, is this you're getting refreshed in your kind of high side 1 space, or is it the case that you're moving into security in this 9 space as a 6? That would be, I need to think on that a little bit more. On the flip side, on the stress side, when you get really stressed out, do you become an improver or do you become more of a aggressive communicator and attention seeker?
Oh, when I get really stressed out, I definitely become a more aggressive communicator, but I don't know about a attention seeker.
Okay.
But what was the first one again?
An improver. Is it the case that when you get really stressed out, it kind of comes out of the fact that you've been thinking too much about future stuff and it suddenly hits you, I need to get my life in order right now?
Oh, that does happen. Yeah,
Okay.
though that also does happen. They both are very much true, but the like I definitely become snippy and aggressive and irritable when I'm
Mm-hmm.
stressed out.
Mm-hmm.
But when I get stressed out, I also will tend to like one of the one of the ADHD-ish things that I experience is where I go down this wormhole of future stuff
Mm-hmm.
and like all the either it's all the things I need to do or all the things I want to do, or even it could be like at what age I'm going to retire and where I'm going to go when I retire. It could be something as far forward as that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden I'll be like come home from a walk and be like, we're not investing in enough stocks and we need to start investing in this and this. And like my husband's like, okay. And I'm like, so do it. Like do it now. Like it's that's sort of the where I can see both of those. But I am aggressively communicating that I'm thinking too much in the future.
The aggressive communication isn't, hey, you haven't been paying attention to me and my fears.
No.
It's something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it the case? I'm going to circle back to affect real quick. I forgot
Yeah.
about this, but one way that very common in psychology is to define people by being those who are more frustrated, more codependent, or those who expect rejection in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
In relationships, when they're kind of sour, do you see yourself as more somebody who experiences frustration with others, somebody who really wrestles with codependency, or somebody who expects rejection and that's where the disconnection happens?
I don't think it's the rejection one. Paint me a picture of the frustration. What could that look like if I'm in a,
It's going to really revolve around ideals that you might
okay,
hold, that you have a preferred future that
okay,
doesn't materialize and then you get frustrated with yourself and others.
okay. And then the codependency would look like,
I create spaces for other people and I expect them to reciprocate the values I have. So I'm bringing something to the table. I expect you to bring something to the table that's real similar. For
okay.
example, I care about the welfare of everyone, and so I assume you're going to care about my welfare would be something very heavily on the heart of a sixes that actually might not be on the heart of a seven now that I say it, but
I really think like a peppering of the second, but more so the first, the frustration.
yeah,
Yeah.
bing. It's like, for those listening, 2 5s, 8s are expect rejection, 1s, 4, 7s are frustration triad, and 3 6 9s can have codependent kind of relationships. What am I thinking? I had one more. Oh, I wanted to talk about processing center as a last one. This is something
Okay.
from Joey Shuey. She wants to say that 6s, 2s, and 4s, in assessing whether or not they're doing well in the world, really think about their relationships first. So the whole world can kind of be on fire, but if your relationships are shored up and solid, that's like the first place they are looking to assess whether or not they're good in the world. Now, all of us care about relationships,
Yeah.
but there's something about relationships where that's the primary. Another way of being in the world would be whether or not you feel comfortable in your mind right now and have a sense that because life is easy, I'm doing okay. That may sound slightly selfish, but if it's like I feel as though everything has a sense to it of not like super exerting anymore and things are easy, that would be my preferred place to be. And that's how I self assess. Is
Yeah,
there
that
a
one.
sense of ease? Okay. And we talked about ease a bit in
Yeah,
that
and
as
actually
well.
just yesterday I was chatting with my friend and we were talking about kids and I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I can't believe," like I was joking obviously, but I was like, "I don't understand why my children are requiring so much hands-on parenting. Can they just be
Yes.
easy?" Like
Yes.
that's what I said. Easy is something that's come up a lot, which is funny because I put myself in situations that are not easy. Like I went back to school at 37 and like now I'm working full time and seeing a bunch of clients and it's like complete chaos, but
Yeah.
I don't thrive in that. Like
Bang.
when I ask someone like, "Oh, do you enjoy being busy?" and they're like, "Yeah, I love it." Like I'm like, no. But
Yeah.
however, I do self-destruct if I have nothing to do, which is weird. Like it's kind of
No?
a strange. Yeah. Uh,
Actually, I hadn't thought about that. That's a good pairing right there. You self destruct if there's nothing to do, but you still want ease.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That,
It's like yeah, it's the ultimate in like I've described, like if I have a day that I have nothing planned,
uh-huh.
I'm anxious because I
Yeah.
have nothing planned. But if there's something on my calendar, I dread it.
Yeah. I,
I want spontaneous. Like I want to be like, I have nothing on the calendar. Let's go here. But if you invite me to something 3 weeks from now on a Saturday, I'm mad. Like I'm resentful because that's on my calendar.
yeah. Right. Right. Right.
You know? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a Tom Sawyer story about painting a fence.
Yes.
And the
Yep.
way that he gets around it, you'll be familiar with this, is he
Yeah.
gets his buddies to paint the fence.
Yeah.
Do you relate to that as a strategy that you might employ
I
if you were able?
I th- I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
There's no, I need to do this. It's my duty to do this that comes into play. That's what I mean. Yeah. The language of ease is TJ's. TJ in terms of processing brought that in. Just as a side note, love the idea of, and we'll write on this in the future, but the self assessment. Am I connecting with other people? Am I grabbing hold of ease, or am I grabbing hold of achievements? That's another way of finding yourself in a set of triads. And that 579 all seek ease is, I think, revealing because it actually pushes into a little bit more behavior on that front. A little bit easier to see in my mind. I appreciate your extra time. I again think there are some places where you got a strong kind of six, and I
Mm.
feel like you go high side one a lot, especially in the your language of how you rest and how you engage others in your work. I feel like you get into one space in a way that's very healthy and admirable. And that would mean that you do a lot of building up of yourself and others from that location, which, in my view, is where, like, if you really want to see healthy human beings, it's can they access the high side of their stress number. And so I suppose the stuff that was coming out as potentially six-ish could also have that angle on it. And but I feel like a ton of your stuff just continues motive, self-assessment, way of being in the world really feels seven-ish to me. I think you should, if I was given a suggestion, I would say, hey, look at seven and do the work there and see if the glasses fit. So I hate to give
Yeah.
you a call and say, hey, come back, I may have screwed something up, but
No,
that's where I go.
listen. I think I like sevens, honestly. I was pretty happy to go there. Yeah,
To be in their
honestly.
camp.
Yeah, because like before I knew so much about the Enneagram, like I only had like the stereotypical seven, right? Like the bubbly, optimistic, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Pfft, like there's no way."
Yeah.
And so, but you know, one thing that's interesting we didn't talk about is like physical space and
Yeah.
something on the nine front, but also the self-pres front, I think, and that's where I get kind of muddled, is like I care deeply about my physical space.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I want the feeling that I'm being just hugged all the time. I have like a very visceral reaction to like if I go in a house that's like Scandinavian, like white with, I'm like physically uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
Like it feels clinical. It feels like I will die on that hill. I'm like, this place needs some color, like
Yeah.
needs some cushions and colors. And so, and I'm all about like, let's make this house as absolutely cozy as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is interesting because for a brief spell, I considered a 9 for myself, like very brief spell. But that was the thing that threw me was that they, I had read that they really like to make their space very harmonious and cozy and sort of comfortable, right?
Right.
And like for example, I will never my husband is dying for us to get a leather couch and I'm like, "Oh, it's like cold and sticky." Yeah, they're nice. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
definitely nice and they're practical with little kids and a dog, absolutely. But they're cold and they're sticky. Like I don't like it,
It's true.
And yeah, but I understand that that's also a self-pres thing. Like the desire to be like nested in your home is also can also be a self-pres thing. So not necessarily a tell of a 9 like as a yeah.
To
No,
go
I'm
down
done.
to go down that path, I haven't put language to this, but the more that I'm thinking about stress moves and security moves, this would the we touched on it a second ago, but I associate our stress moves with something like restoration and recovery, or like a net you fall into
Mm,
at times. And so the physicality of the spaces that you want to enter into when doing recovery, as it were, when like restoring yourself,
yep.
that would be going into that body center and becoming very somatic
Yep.
in terms of what you want your rest area to look like. Security moves, I was trying to get there with vacations. Security moves are places where you're in power. You have got your motive
Mm,
fulfilled, and now you have leverage. And so for the 6 going into 9 space, it's going to look much more like you have all the check marks done and everything feels safe and secure. And now you have permission to enjoy the harmonious spaces around you. And those are 2 different ways of experiencing one's physicality, as it were.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's helpful, but I experience going into my emotional center, my heart center, when I'm recovering. So I'm normally in my body. I'm normally feeling all this spaces, and I'm normally doing things to move the spaces and the physical things forward. But when I step away from that, I listen to melancholy music.
Mm,
I want to watch movies that remind me about the beauties of humanity.
okay.
These are places that restore my soul, as it were. And so I would be curious if moving out of your head as a 7, if you're a 7, and moving into your body might have that element to it. You know what I'm saying there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I
Or
don't, yeah, I don't know.
I suppose said it a different way, and this might be a good place to close because we're going to do our 3rd book on this, and this is going to be like the primary thesis. Is just so much time, so often in Enneagram world, you talk about head types and body types and heart
Yeah.
types, and you get away from the fact that we all have a head, heart, and body, and all of us have a relationship with our head, heart, and body that really needs to be cultivated. You need to care about your heart, and you need to care about your mind, and you need to care about your body, and it might be more helpful to go that direction and say, what is my relationship with my heart? What is my relationship with my body? What is my relationship with my head? And to approach doing some of this work from that vantage point, and how do I use them? So that may be something on the 7 front. I imagine you feel quite comfortable in your head
Mm-hmm.
and in future processing.
Yeah.
It would be you. It sounds like you've done a lot of work to shore up your feeling center and give yourself tools for engaging other people's emotions and your own emotions, which is exactly the diagnosis for feeling repressed people. So well done there. And then in terms of your body, that's gonna be your secondary center, and it's gonna be your stress move is going to be going into your body. And so that's going to feel more like a recovery space. And so as you're talking about going on walks outside your house, this is fantastic best practices of naming the places where you get into your body that are actually healthy and not quote unquote disintegrated. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Like if I'm thinking about where I want to go to be rested and restored, I love, like I think I mentioned last time, I love like a nerd vacation. Like I love to go to, like, take me to the Louvre, take me to Rome, and so I can nerd out over stuff. But to restore, I'm near water on a beach, like reading
Yeah.
a book, but like just, totally relaxing,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
My dad could have said everything you just said. My dad's a 7.
Oh, really?
It has 12 vacations already planned, but once there, we'll totally take and notice the ease coming in there. You're in vacation mode. You find the active spaces, but you also find how can I simply be calm here?
Well, actually, a great example of that is like I said, I love ancient history. I love seeing different cities. However, I would just want it to be easy. So when we went on our honeymoon, we did I never would have considered myself like a cruise person, but I was so overwhelmed by the thought of planning to go to like different places that we just booked a Mediterranean cruise.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was amazing. I saw all these cities. I saw Rome, I saw Athens, I saw Barcelona, I saw all these places. And all I had to do was just get off the boat.
Yeah.
Yep. Show up, get back on it this time. And it, shuttles me over here. It was great. Like now I'm like, I get it. I get why people cruise.
Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, I want to see all the things, but I don't want to be the one having to do all the itinerarying.
Yeah.
I'm allergic to Excel, so I can't make a spreadsheet. I won't do it. So if that's involved, I'm not there.
I have to think on that in terms of why are people so averse to Excel? I live in Excel, but that's because I'm thinking repressed and I need it.
I had a client today who was she said she made a spreadsheet to track her therapy. I can't imagine. Would never. Absolutely not. But we need all kinds, so that's great. I love that there's people who love Excel. Like if ever there's a pivot table that needs to be made,
Yes.
I'm so thankful for you all. So
I appreciate the non-judgmentalness towards our inability to keep all these numbers in line. I wouldn't do a vacation though on Excel.
On Excel, no.
That's not what it's for. It's
honestly,
for
now I hate to say it, but now I'm like ChatGPT, plan my vacation.
Such a good.
Talk about easy. Oh God. Yeah.
No, I use chat way too much.
Me too.
It's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
I suppose there's got to be an unhealthy measure there. I'm gonna.
Well, it is
ask
wrecking the
chat.
environment. That's the one thing, right? So I'm deeply shamed when I tell people that but anybody who knows me, it makes so much sense because I'm just yeah.
You're not making cat videos though.
No.
That's really where the damage is taking place.
Oh yeah, no. No, I'm not doing anything even remotely fun on ChatGPT. I'm geeking out tell me about this therapy modality and how it can be applied to I'm definitely not tell me some jokes I can bring to I love jokes, that's the thing, but yeah. I do love a joke.
We didn't see we kind of hinted at that, the desire for it to be entertaining.
Oh, I'm all about that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. See, I'm going to land the plane right there that we can go ahead and say, go ahead and stick with 7s.
Okay.
And by the way, dear listener, don't go to ChatGPT and ask for therapy questions because you will go down the rabbit trail and But like those, there's like this is a very good question. I'm going on a walk again. There's some helpful things there. Anyway, Danielle, just a delight talking with you, meeting you. I'm really grateful again for the extra time, and I think this will be very helpful. I'm getting so many, I've probably said this, I'm getting so many of the body types and some heart types who are mistyping and just have not very many head types who are mistyping. So I'm thankful for the variety.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great.